In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Aurra for both the Discover the Force line and the Vintage Collection. I am not sure specifically what line this figure is from because I got her loose in 2019 at a comic book store, and there's really no differences at all between the two action figures. Aurra is part of the wave, or the TVC wave, where they had both a Discover the Force release and a TVC card release at the same exact time, and this was 2011, 2012, just towards the end of the TVC line. And as far as I know, there's really no differences at all between the two action figures. But regardless, whichever one you get, it's a nice action figure. She comes with a lot of accessories, and a lot of unique accessories at that. Things that we don't normally see with a Star Wars action figure. And it's nice that Aurra does have a slot in the TVC line. She's definitely a popular character. I think she's a very interesting character, very deadly bounty hunter. And she did make her debut, I'm pretty sure, in that balcony scene in The Phantom Menace, overlooking the pod racing sequence. And I suspect her character is similar to like Quinlan Voss, where she was just meant to be a background character, and enough people took interest in her, and then that's when her stories ballooned from there in both the expanding universe and even in the Disney universe. Her story carries on to this day. She was mentioned in the Solo story. And of course, she was in the Dave Filoni Clone Wars series as well, which I did review that particular Clone Wars animated Aurra previously. Would recommend checking that video out, and I will bring her out again here in a little bit to do a comparison between these two action figures. Throughout the years, we did get some other Aurra action figures. There was one in the Saga collection where I think she came with one of the lightsabers that she typically uses. She does use a green lightsaber in the expanding universe every now and then. And there's also one, I think it was in the Power of the Jedi line, or the Saga line, or both even. So Aurra has had her share of released action figures over the years. Well, this one's probably the definitive one, and quite frankly, at this point, I can't see Hasbro really updating it at all. There is one slight update I'm sure a lot of people would like to have on it that I'll touch on here in a little bit. But other than that, she's a perfect action figure. So let's just go and take a closer look at her. So I'm not exactly sure what her species is, but she is very interesting. Very neutral expression she has. Nice paint apps. Skin tone has a kind of a glow to it. Very neat. And Aurra is known for having a remote implanted in her head, and that is reflected here with the antenna. And it's much more subtle on this action figure, I think, than on the Clone Wars version. And it is painted silver, while on the Clone Wars one it's just painted basically the same color as her head. She does have her hair tied in the, or just tied up there. And it does have a lot of detailing in it. As you can see, it has some highlights, it has a wave to it, and it does have some braids mixed in, as you can see there. You can see a little bit more on this side. So it's very nice detail. She does have a jacket here, which is a separate piece. She does have some ammo strapped to the front there, and some accessories in the back. Let's see if we can take this sniper rifle off here real quick. Show things off a little better. Yeah, you can see those extra components on the back of her jacket. She does have the harness here. Now, one thing I really like about this action figure is she has the chain wrapped around her waist there. And it's wrapped around the holster as well. I think that's really neat. Makes her look that much more intimidating and that she means business. And in this case, the harness and the holsters here are one piece. And same with the holster straps down here. Then you have her orange suit. And then brown boots. All has some nice details. So in terms of articulation, she does have a ball joint at the head, which has a very nice range of motion. Her hair is not very restricted much at all. She does have hinge shoulders and elbows, swivel wrists. Of course, we'll mention real quick, Aurra is known for the very long fingers, and that's reflected here. She does have a swivel waist, actually. Well, not even a swivel waist, it's a swivel torso. And it's more at her midsection there. Interesting way for Hasbro to do that, but it works just fine for this action figure. She does have swivel hips, then hinge knees, and then going back to what I mentioned earlier about something that I think a lot of people might want updated is she has no ankle articulation. Which is kind of interesting. But, you know, looking at this closer, that would hurt the aesthetic of the boots there. As you can see, she does have certain folds within her boots there, and then if they threw in some ankle articulation, that might take away from some of the aesthetic. But despite that, the articulation is really good, and her not having ankles is no problem at all. In terms of her accessories, she has a lot of them. So she does have the two pistols here. Very interesting design. It has a trigger guard here for I assume it's two triggers almost, which is not a design I'm used to seeing. It does have some silver paint at the end of the pistol there, and some silver on the pistol grip. And it does fit securely in her holster. It's a nice fit. And you can get her in a drawing pose if you wanted to. Something like that. She does have her signature sniper rifle. And this time, instead of the strap being removable, it's all just molded into one piece here. Does have some extra pouches there. I think it might be on the Clone Wars one has pouches too, but it's all the same color as the strap. At least here it's distinguished. Then another interesting accessory she comes with, something we don't normally see, is a briefcase. And you open this up, and it reveals 3 lightsabers. And they are unique hilts. And there is an extra spot there if you want to put an extra hilt. Usually I do have an extra hilt in there, but I think one of the last reviews I did in the last few months, I used the hilt that was in here and I haven't put it back yet. That is an option for you. It almost looks like the second one here looks like a Return of the Jedi Luke's lightsaber. This one up here actually looks like Anakin's a little bit. And I'm not sure what this bottom one is. They do have some unique paint on them. It's kind of like a brownish yellow for where the grip would be. And the briefcase just snaps into place. Nice accessory for her to have, especially for a bounty hunter. You can have her walking around with the briefcase as if she's making her delivery. But I think that's pretty much all I can tell you about this action figure. It's a very nice one. We'll do a couple more things here real quick. Just to kind of show it off, how she would look holding onto the rifle here. It is easy enough to put in her hand. Like, realistically, you probably want her to have this propped up against a shelf or something, because no one's going to carry a rifle around like that. Keep it steady. I will do a comparison here real quick. She is alongside her Clone Wars counterpart. Yeah, you can see there is the pouches on the strap there, but it's very subtle. You can see the difference between the two action figures. I think they're both fantastic. But I think that's all I can really tell you about Aurra here. Would I recommend her for your collection? I definitely would. Whether it's the Discover the Force or the TBC action figure, is totally up to you. Like I said, as far as I know, it's the same exact figure. I don't think there's a huge price difference between the two. Although I have seen some of the prices for the TBC Aurra recently, and it is very pricey. If you find one loose, it might be much more affordable, like I did. I think I only paid somewhere between $20 and $25 for Aurra, which is not a bad deal at all for loose. And I'm sure you can find her for a price around that as well. Between these two action figures, I think they're probably the definitive Aurra figures for 3 3/4 inch. There is a Black Series 6-inch figure of her, which I've kind of eyed every now and then over the last several years, and I might eventually get it. The prices for her are usually pretty reasonable, even below retail most of the time, so might do that at some point. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There will always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support, and check out some links in the description if you haven't done so already. Of course, as always, thanks for watching.